Jack, hopefully
All right.
make sure you
Oh,
guys, how do
can
I,
you enable it?
yeah, I was trying to, what's that under? It's under screen share?
Or security, and then allow participants.
Yeah. All right, who can share? All participants can do everything.
All right,
Okay.
cool. So the first plugin is Whimsy Observation Displayer. This is really used for when we have like kids on the server so that they can actually observe different things that they notice on the map. So the main like entry point for like players on the server would be slash observe. Um, and basically you type slash observe and then you make your observation. So I'm on the moon. And it generates this little floating hologram thing with their observation, who said it, when it happened, and then when it expires. So by default, all the observations expire a week after they were made. Um, and so then to actually manage observations is slash observations. And so you can get information on one, list them, you can get some that are near. So then you can purge some, which actually goes along with reactivating. Um, so you can reactivate expired observations. So let's say that it was February 9th. This observation wouldn't be here anymore, but I would still be able to reactivate it again. And you can do that by either giving a specific ID of an observation, a range of IDs, or a range of times that they were made between. Before I do that, let me just like list them. So right now there's only one observation, and so it has ID of 8, and that's this one. So let's, what should I do? Let's just remove observation 8. So now if I list them, there aren't any, but let's say I want to reactivate it for testing purposes. So I can just say 8, and so by default it just suggests like the timing format because it's a little weird and you have to get it like exactly right for it to recognize it. Um, but if I wanted to reactivate this, I can just do reactivate 8. And you can see that this is temporary, and it has like the original expiring time and stuff like that. Um, but notice how we're on 8. We can actually reactivate like 1 through 7 as well, to activate all those other ones that were there before. So we can see that 7 were reactivated, and now if I list here, we can see that we have like all of these random observations. These are all just like test observations that I've made. I think, yeah, Peter actually made one. Um, but so then here is where that purge command comes. So automatically, the way the plugin works is like once a minute, I think it checks to see, or it checks all the current observations and gets rid of them if they're expired. But it doesn't do that for the temporary ones. These will basically be here until you restart the server or you actually run the purge command. So if I purge right now, it goes ahead and removes all 7 of those temporary observations. And if we list them, there's nothing left. So you can also remove all dependent on a player or a world or both. So for the camps, we would have like worlds on like the no moon thing. So I could remove all on the world, no moon. Same thing for a player. And then you can actually stack both of those. So I could be like no moon on Aiden. And then set expiration. This is, you probably won't really do this often, but let's say I have this observation. One of the things you can do is actually remove the expiration. So observations set expiration on 9, and I'll just make it none. So it gets updated and there's no longer that expiring thing anymore. Just another tidbit about this. So if you see one of these, you can click on it, left or right click, and it will automatically teleport you exactly where the person was looking when they made this observation. So like, oh, I see this, click it, and now I'm looking where they were. So let
So,
me,
Jack, that was an excellent overview very rapidly. Just to help everybody understand, so this is part of us trying to teach them to think about science, right? In science, we make observations about things. And part of what we do in the camps is we're trying to make sure they make better observations. And that's part of why like Jack had to implement that where are they looking part is like a lot of the kids are, I don't know, maybe new to this or just not trying that hard. And they'll say like lots of stuff. will be their observation. And like, we're like, what are you even talking about? And so that was helpful for us getting a sense of what they're talking about. The other piece that we've got to work on is this is the last part of the tutorial set that we haven't done. So normally teaching them how to make good observations, we do in person or through the camp. Like there's a set of kids and an instructor, and we're able to do that well. There's even a map. We're not looking at it now, but the Earth map, there's like a house, and it has like the wall of terrible observations that we can make fun of. And we have different kinds of like, you can count things or you can describe, there's different ways to do observations. So we have to think through that. And because we want to be able to have people making observations related to science and have us collect some data on that. But we also want to teach you how to do it. There's also this pedagogical curricular part.
Mm-hmm. So that initial like Earth tutorial is like house is no longer there. I stuffed it underneath the map on the moon map for like storage.
Oh, it's in the basement or something?
Yeah, it's like it's like smushed into the map. So the next part of the tutorial that I'm building out that probably people should know is essentially making that more of an interactive experience instead of just like, look at this house. If you're doing this, you're wrong.
Right. Like we got to have like NPCs or they practice doing it. If we can do it with a quest, like that I don't know if that's possible. That's a great.
Yeah, I'll be trying to figure it out.
Yeah. So right, that's our kind of what we're hoping in the next 2 weeks we can figure out some semblance of that. Lest I sit on the server and try to teach kids how to do that all day. Sorry, Jack. I kind of.
No, you're good. And then so to go along with this, all this is actually stored on a database. And I guess we'll talk about this later, but having it on a database and not stored in like a file makes it pretty easy to be able to access this information from other places. So this specific database is actually hosted by Beastnode, which is nice. Don't have to bother setting that up. But as you can see, here's the table. It has like IDs, the time it was created, the UUID of the person, their username, the world that was in, and then all the information about the position, what the observation actually is, and then whether or not it's like active currently. So these were all deleted, all 0. And then the expiration time. And you can see that the one that I actually removed the expiration from is null because there is no expiration.